to XO19. We are here in London, and I am now joined by Matt Booty. Matt, thank you so much for taking some time to say hey.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
So let's just jump straight into it. Earlier this year, I was going to say earlier this month, that would have been incorrect. Earlier this year, Microsoft Studios rebranded to Xbox Game Studios. How has that kind of changed what you and your team do? Or has it changed what you and your team do?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. We spent some time thinking about it, and we really deliberately put the word game back in the name because we wanted to make sure that that was our focus. So really it is our #1 mission, which is to bring great games to our fans. So we wanted to make sure that that word was front and center.
And games is right, because you guys have a ton of studios under, that umbrella now. What exactly have you been looking for in a studio that you guys decided to acquire and kind of bring into the family?
I think if you look across all of our 15 studios, the thing that you'll see is that they're all creator-led. Many of the studios that we've had for quite a while, plus the new ones that we've added, they all have in their leadership people that come from a creative background. And I think that's something that's really important to us and something that we want to build on going forward. We recently got all 15 of our studio heads together in New York City for a meeting, and it was pretty amazing being there with these leaders that represent over hundreds of years of collective experience, and all of them really come from that sort of development creative standpoint. It was really inspiring. It gives me a lot of confidence about what we're doing going forward.
Well, let me just say, I'm very excited about what you guys are doing. Now, so you guys had all of the leaders from studios together. What does collaboration look like between the studios? Is there a lot of it? How does that work?
We have so many different kinds of studios when you think about it. We have small studios like inXile that makes Wasteland 3, all the way up to the team working on Halo, which of course is a really large team. So they all have different cultures and different technology and different ways of going about things. But what we try to do is work within the disciplines in the studios. Okay. For example, the artists, the animators, the programmers, and bring them together organically. So we call them summits. So we'll get together with an animation summit, or maybe a business intelligence summit, concept art summit, and that's been pretty successful. In the last year alone, we've had 20 of those.
Oh, wow.
And it's really fostered a lot of connection and creativity and sharing between the studios.
So would you say that it's common, let's say if I'm an animator at inXile and I call up Obsidian about a question of, I don't know very much about what animators do outside of in a technical way, but would it be common for me to call them up and be like, hey, can we brainstorm, or can you help me out on this?
Well, that's what we try to do in these summits, is make sure those connections exist so they know who to call, and they're just aware. I think so much of it is just being aware of what goes on in a studio. Producing games has become so complicated. There's so much technology and so much software used that I think just half of the battle is just making sure that they know what each other are doing, and we're really trying to build those connections at that discipline level within the studios.
So in some E3 interviews I was watching, you talked a lot about technology and creativity coming together, and that really is what games is. What comes first? Is it an idea and then technology, you kind of wait on technology to catch up, to materialize that idea, or are these ideas coming as a result of, let's utilize this technology?
Yeah, it's a great question. One of the things that I love the most about being in games is that it is always at that intersection of cutting edge technology, but it's also, games are different than things like movies and books and music. We have a unique ability to tell stories in a way that engages the player and brings you into a deeper level of emotion. And I feel that we're both at the cutting edge of storytelling and this cutting edge of technology, and they sort of bounce back and forth off each other. So I think we really are at the front of those all the time, and it's more of a back and forth and a mixture as opposed to one leading the other.
Interesting. That's so beautiful. I love that. So speaking of technology, Project xCloud is it's a coming. Cloud games is right there as being a very normal thing as a player. Now, how has it changed the development approach towards games? Has it changed at all?
Well, the interesting thing for us is that the way Project xCloud works is that pretty much any game that runs on an Xbox will run on Project xCloud. And that's really what we think is a big advantage of our Project xCloud, is that it will launch with this incredible library of content. Here today at XO, I think we're announcing close to 50 new games becoming available as the preview rolls out more broadly. So for us, it really becomes more about trying to reach a broader audience, right? Are there people who may not have encountered Halo yet because they don't have a console and they play often more on PC or on mobile? And how does Project xCloud take our AAA console content and make that available on a broader range of devices?
I love that. So final question, I have to ask, I think everyone was so excited by the announcement of the initiative. It's like this quadruple A studio, and now we haven't heard anything about it. Can you give us any updates, any morsels just to hold us over for a little bit?
Well, earlier this week I was reviewing some materials from the team, and they are busy at work, and I can just say two things, that they have hired some tremendous talent there. So I feel really good about the team that we've put together, and what they're working on is coming together really well. It looks exciting. We, as I said a little bit earlier, we're going to be showing more games toward the end of the year, and then we've got a whole bunch of games that we're going to be announcing as we get into 2020. So there's more beats coming up for us to talk about that.